Chapter 9. A City Submerged.
This is the place!
Slinky shouts to the team after traveling for many days. She points toward the town ahead of them, her smile growing wider.
What is the name of this place?
Jindai asks.
Uliazama Mgi.
Slinky replies.
Uliazama Mgi.
Mava asks as she flies the hoverbike into the outskirts of the city and lands.
Is this a good spot?
Yes, thank you,
Slinky says gratefully. She jumps off the bike with a huge smile on her face.
I can't believe we actually made it. I hope with all your help we can find a way into the city.
She points in front of them at a lake. The city is under the water? Leandra asks. Can something ever be easy for us? We deserve it for once, she thinks. What happened? She looks at the water's edge and sees a small girl walking near the lake. I think there's someone over there. They walk toward the little girl, keeping some distance between them.
The land froze over and she came down the mountain,
the little girl says, barely audible to Leandra. She's saying something. Leandra tells the group, signaling them to stop.
She finds the Wendigo breaking through the fountain.
The little girl continues, reciting what appears to be a poem.
Through the south, she passes through the tunnels of wind. When she arrives at the city of Emerald, she grins.
Leandra and the team listen as the girl speaks of a woman named the Ice Queen. A cold breeze blows against Leandra's back, sending shivers down her spine. They follow the little girl to find out who she is. She notices them approaching and runs into an abandoned building that still appears to be in decent condition. When they follow, they feel another cold breeze. Leandra and the team notice that Uliazama Ngi is deserted. There is no one there besides the little girl, who they can now hear crying. They finally catch up to her, with Slinky taking the lead, though she hardly seems startled by the little girl. The little girl notices Slinky and says,
You're not her. Go away.
The team looks at Slinky, who shrugs, and when they look back, the girl is gone. Slinky? Leandra asks.
What?
Slinky replies curtly.
I've seen this little girl before. Maybe she thinks I'm someone else. Every time I try to talk to her, she says the same thing and then disappears. Where did she go?
Jindai asks.
Is she a ghost? Like I told you before, she just poofs and disappears every time I try to talk to her.
Slinky explains, clearly annoyed.
Well, that's creepy,
Mava says.
How did you end up in a city like this, Slinky? Where exactly did you live? Where's your family?
Those are all great questions,
Slinky replies.
I used to live in one of these buildings with my mama and papa. We would swim into the underwater parts of the city and find food and supplies in containers. But one day, this weird energy blocked us, like a force field.
Jindai asks.
Sure, if that's what you call it,
Slinky says, shrugging. So the other part of the city was always underwater? Leandra asks. As long as you've lived here?
Yeah, well, my parents thought this was a safe, deserted place.
Slinky explains.
I mean, it was pretty safe until that stupid force field thing appeared. Where are your parents now?
Jindai asks.
Oh.
Tears well in Slinky's eyes.
They were just gone one day. That's why I came searching for help. I think they might have found a way into the city underwater, but maybe they got stuck.
She begins to cry. Okay, Mava says with vexation. Let's go look already.
Oh, thank you,
Slinky says cheerfully. She jumps up and down with excitement. She leads them to a room where they find gear that they can use to enter the lake and reach the submerged part of the city. She shows them a control panel she believes can deactivate the force field, though she is not sure how.
I might be able to overload it.
Vorsha suggests. Slinky appears perturbed to hear Vorsha's amulet speak.
Oh, okay.
Slinky says.
I guess your little jewel can help us? I didn't realize they could talk. Can all jewels talk?
It's a long story, Mava says, cutting her off. Show us what you can do, Vorsha. Vorsha channels energy into the control panel. It crackles and overloads with power. The lights inside the building go out. They run outside and see that the force field on the lake is gone.
Let's go!
Slinky cheers. She enters the lake with her subaquatic gear on. They follow her into the water, Leandra holding Vorsha's amulet in her hand as they explore the underwater city. They swim past old, dilapidated buildings, though many still appear intact. Jindai stops at a large mural depicting a city underwater and signals the team to look. Leandra and Mava look at it and give her a thumbs up, acknowledging that they see it. They look up and notice the energy barrier has reappeared above them. Slinky waves her arms to get their attention, and they follow her. They continue through the city streets and turn on the lights on their gear to see more clearly. Slinky moves forward, unfazed by the ancient architecture and artwork around them. The team follows her through the empty yet technologically advanced city. Leandra thinks she hears a girl crying somewhere in the city and follows the sound. Slinky signals for her to return, but Leandra continues down a corridor. She realizes she does not hear the girl with her ears, but in her mind. She eventually finds the little girl on the lake floor without any gear. She sees her pointing back toward the lake shore. As soon as Leandra turns to signal the team, the girl vanishes. Leandra looks at Slinky and points to where the girl stood. Slinky shrugs and continues swimming. Leandra hears the girl again. Vorsha also hears her, a quiet voice in her mind saying,
You're running away, aren't you?
Vorsha shivers. The voice returns.
You haven't escaped. You've only put yourself in a cage.
Vorsha concentrates on blocking out the voice from her mind.
How is she doing this? Who am I hearing in my mind?
Leandra wanders off again toward the sound and finds a little girl still walking through the city without gear. The girl enters a room and Leandra follows. She hears her reciting the same poem as before. Only now the words echo clearly in her mind, telling the story of the Ice Queen. When the girl finishes, Jindai suddenly appears beside Leandra and the girl vanishes. Jindai signals for Leandra to join her and Mava. They swim to a large crystal device glowing with pink energy. What do we do with this? Leandra asks Vorsha in her mind.
I can sense the same energy in this crystal as in the energy barrier blocking the lake.
Vorsha says telepathically, opening a channel so they can communicate underwater.
Look, there are alcoves around us,
Jindai says. She touches one with her palm. It lights up, and the large pink crystal's energy shifts. I found one too, Mava exclaims. She swims to another alcove and touches it. The crystal's energy dims. Well, it looks like we're onto something, Leandra says, pressing her hand to another alcove close to them. They spot one more and look for Slinky. Maybe you can help us with this one, Vorsha. Vorsha glides to the last alcove, briefly taking corporeal form, and places her palm against it. The large crystal's energy disappears, and they see the barrier above them vanish. Let's move, Mava commands. After the team comes back up from the water with the barrier released, they look around and notice that Slinky is nowhere to be found. Leandra panics, thinking that she might have been left underwater and is about to jump back in, but then the barrier reappears and blocks her path. "Oh no!" Leandra says with trepidation. "We didn't find her parents, and now what if she's trapped in there?" Jindai is worried too about Slinky and touches the energy barrier but is shot back many feet. Mava and Leandra run to Jindai to make sure she's okay.
That was not a good idea, Jen,
Mava says.
"Are you okay?"
Jindai nods, then gets back to her feet. Jindai's subaquatic suit absorbed most of the damage from the energy barrier. Leandra notices the little girl again, now by the water's edge, about to jump back into the lake. She is about to react, instinctively trying to save the girl, but she stops when she realizes that she is probably not alive anymore. Vorsha hovers up next to Leandra and says, "I saw her too." Leandra blinks and the child is gone.
What are we going to do about Slinky?
Jindai asks.
She might be trapped down there.
Mava and Leandra just look at each other as though they instinctively know what's going on.
"I don't think she's real either, Jindai,"
Mava says to reassure her.
"There was something strange about her."
Leandra looks into the eyes of her teammates, and they all share a moment of intuitive understanding.
Who is she?
Jindai asks.
Or who was she, I mean?
I don't know, Leandra answers. But I think she got us to do exactly what she wanted. Mava shakes her head, then walks back to her hoverbike before saying,
"Let's get out of here. I'm sick of creepy little ghost girls."
The team agrees, and they all return to the back of the hoverbike, leaving the city.